and from the opening scenes, it all unfolds really quickly and rapidly and dramatically within the first sort of 5 minutes of the film. $156 million Powerball lottery ticket is at stake, and you don't know what's going to happen in the next hour and a half. It all takes place in real time. Basically, everybody's jockeying for this ticket, and as they say, wackiness ensues. But I can't spoil it. I don't want to give anything away more than that. But it's a terrific film. I was offered it 2.5 years ago when I saw the casting director sent me the reel of this wonderful young director, Daniel Brown, sent me his demo reel with some videos that he'd done and a short film version of this that he made about 12 years ago. A similar premise about a man who wins the lottery ticket. And he'd been trying to get this film made for 12 years. This is his first feature film. And I have to tell you, as a debut film, he hits it out of the park, to use an American sports metaphor. It's an extraordinary debut for a guy who's never directed a feature film before. It's just astonishing. And she sent me his reel, and I said, I don't care what the role is. I don't care where it works, when it works. I want to be a part of this guy's vision. And I literally worked one day. I worked one day on it around Christmas time on a cold, chilly night in downtown Los Angeles, that somehow magically this filmmaker and the production team managed to double for Miami, an industrial area in downtown Los Angeles, and he converted it into Miami. And it looks and sounds incredible. And the actors, Jessica Garza, Elliot Knight, Musa Kraish, and of course, the late, great Angus Cloud, who was one of the stars of Euphoria, who we lost in a very untimely way a few months back. And the film is dedicated to him. But I'm really proud to be a part of it. I'm really, I'm in it very briefly, but it's a memorable part. And I'm lucky. It's my lucky day that I get to be a part of it.
I suppose, Spencer, what struck me about the movie, and you mentioned there, is the tempo in terms of the fast-paced sort of nature. It almost reminds me, there was a great movie there recently. It was Brooklyn Bridge or something there, with the late departed actor who played the lead role in Black Panther.
Yes.
He died.
I know the film you're thinking of. There's a little bit of Dog Day Afternoon, the classic Pacino film Dog Day Afternoon. I mean, without giving too much away, again, it becomes a bit of a hostage drama. And there's some humor in it as well. But it's just, and it takes place really, you feel like you're watching, I think it's 120 minutes all in. You feel like you're watching these events unfold in real time. And I'd never seen it until I watched it. Went to the premiere last week in Los Angeles. I'd never seen the film. And I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. And I'm an actor who, believe it or not, doesn't love watching himself on screen. But I felt very connected to all of these other actors. We all worked long into the night. I think I worked a total of 10 hours on it. And I felt very connected to all these other actors that were in this convenience store scene. And so I went to the premiere, and I wanted to support Daniel Brown. And man, I walked out of there it knocked my socks off. So, and I think audiences are going to feel the same way. You literally don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And it literally happens in real time. And you walk out of the theater going, what the hell was that? So I can't wait to see it again.
And I suppose, Spencer, these type of projects, once you come at your doorstep, and you mentioned there, you saw the concept, you saw the vision of the director wanted to take it on. And I suppose in terms of having that sort of own picture, we all know directors and we all know producers have pictures in their head of what the finished project would be like. But when they're obviously pitching it to actors, sometimes it's very hard sometimes for the actors before they sign up to see that sort of that vision or that concept sometimes in their own heads. But you almost felt like there was a parallel sort of bonding between the two of you, that you were able to see his vision even before it was produced, that you were able to see where he was wanting to take it.
Very much so. I mean, I've been privileged to work with a lot of directors whose visions as filmmakers are well known, like Michael Mann. When you watch a Michael Mann film, you know what you're going to get visually. He's an incredible visual stylist. Ridley Scott, Mike Nichols, Michael Bay, even. I mean, you know what you're going to get. With a first-time director, you don't know what you're going to get. But I'd seen his reel, and he has such a unique twist in terms of his visual style that it was really like nothing I'd ever seen before. Very, very avant-garde, very strange. And I thought, how is this going to translate to, it's because in a lot of ways, it's a very commercial film. But when you watch it, obviously, and you've seen it, the style of it, the look of it, the cutting, the pacing, it really just envelops you and sucks you into that world in such a wonderful way. I mean, it's a dark film, but he also leavens it with some great humor. So yeah, I didn't know what I was getting involved with in terms of a first-time director, but I knew that having seen his style in just from his short films, I thought, wow, this is a guy who's really going to go places, and that's somebody that you want to be in business with, somebody who has that grand and that bold a visual style and that much confidence.
And I suppose that Spencer, in terms of movies and sort of concepts, you mentioned Angus Cloud there, and obviously Angus plays one of the lead sort of characters. Awful tragedy about his passing. But looking on at Angus and looking on at the role he's sort of playing, it almost gives off that sort of Marshall Mathers, that Eminem sort of vibe to him, in terms of being sort of trying to make it, being a downward, trying to grasp at any opportunity, and lo and behold, this opportunity comes about, and he's sort of wrestling, should I do it, shouldn't I do it, and then he sort of gives in to that sort of, the dark urge sort of wins out. But it almost feels like that choice that he makes there and then, he's paying the repercussions for it as we go on.
It's a morality play without being heavy-handed and messagey. It's a morality play. I mean, he has to make a kind of a Sophie's choice about what to do with these other human beings that he has trapped in this small space, in this convenience store. And I didn't know Angus. I met him walking onto the set. We met while we were getting our makeup done, and I was a fan of Euphoria. I'd watched tons of episodes of it just to get acquainted with what kind of actor he was, because I knew that he was somebody literally who they found off the streets. I mean, he told me he was working as a busboy in Brooklyn, and a modeling agent found him and signed him to a contract. And I don't know how much of this is apocryphal or true, but all of a sudden he found himself on this massive hit show on HBO and became a huge star, and a guy with not a lot of training and background and craft. And so he literally, when you watch this performance, you feel like this guy literally just walked off the street and into this convenience store.
That brings the realism.
It's so raw, and it's so raw and visceral and kinetic and natural. You don't see the wheels turning with this actor. It's just he's just a guy off the street, and that's what makes it even more compelling.
And Spencer, where did you shoot? You mentioned there about the shoot and the shoot location. You mentioned a 10-hour day, so I imagine that was probably 6 a.m. in the morning to probably 9 p.m. wrap.
Kind of the opposite. We shot it in downtown Los Angeles, a place called City of Industry that is just it's all warehouses. It's warehouses and trucks and train tracks. And then obviously you've seen the film, and you know that it doubles for Miami. There are scenes where you see boats and palm trees, and he's kind of cut together the world of Miami with this kind of downtown industrial district of Los Angeles to make it look like a certain section of Miami. But yeah, I think I got there at 3:00 in the afternoon, and I drove home at 2:00 in the morning, after I
Okay.
was wrapped. And it was one of the first days of filming, and they were just kind of setting up the convenience store. The actors were all just kind of getting to know each other. It was very much, I mean, they're all kind of in this confined space for the, I think it was about a 3 week shoot from what I understand. But I was there for 9, 10 hours, and I remember driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and all the Christmas lights in Los Angeles were up, and driving home and kind of thinking, wow, that was a really powerful experience. I don't have that a lot. I haven't worked one day on a film too often in my life. I think the last time I did it was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Tarantino, and I think I was on that set
Classic.
a total of about an hour. I got to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I sat down, I shot the scenes with DiCaprio and Pitt, and I was back in my car about 2 hours later, and driving home on the freeway thinking, I think I just was a part of something really special. And I had that same feeling driving home after working with Angus and Daniel and this a really terrific company of actors. And obviously Jessica Garza ends up kind of becoming a heroine to a certain extent. She sort of becomes the fulcrum of the drama, and she's incredible. They all are.
And Spencer, just going to take you away from your lucky day for a minute or two, and you might enlighten us about other projects that might be in the pipeline that might be coming your way now that we're, as they're saying, that we're back in business, we're open for business, Hollywood is
We're back
open
in
again.
business, baby. Yes. Well, I was lucky enough to have been a part of an HBO series for the last 3 years. I was doing a show called Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty.
Oh, very good show. I've seen a few episodes of it. I really, really
With
liked it.
John C. Reilly, who's a recent resident of Ireland now. I think he bought a place in Galway. He lives there half the time. The lucky fella. And Adrian Brody and Jason Segel and my gosh,
Terrific
Sally
show.
Field, just an incredible, just all stars. And it's about it tracks the rise of the Lakers from
Magic
the early
Johnson.
90s.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I play a man named Chick Hearn, who was the broadcaster for the Lakers. He was the voice of the Lakers. He was the face of the Lakers for 40 years as in the broadcasting booth. And I was in prosthetic makeup for 3.5 hours every morning, putting on a completely different face of latex over my face and having an absolute blast. We shot that for 2 seasons. It's on HBO Max now. Sadly, we were not picked up for a 3rd season, but they're looking for a new home for it, possibly Netflix or someplace else.
It'll get a home. It'll get a home.
It'll get a home for season 3. It has to, because the show is called The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, and we have to come out winning on top in the end. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's an incredible show. It's exciting. It's funny. There's great basketball. If you love classic 1980s basketball with Kareem and Magic and the rivalry between the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers.
How's your basketball lingo, Spencer, in terms of the
My
phrases,
basketball lingo is
terminology?
it's pretty amazing. I mean, Chick Hearn's signature phrase was, "This game is in the refrigerator, folks. The lights are out, the doors closed, the eggs are cooling, the butter's getting hard, and the Jello is jiggling." So that was Chick's phrase. So I hope I get to say it again. And then the other thing is, there's a wonderful show that I was in the midst of filming, a Shonda Rhimes series for Netflix. We were filming right before we got shut down by the strike. It's called The Residents, and again, it's another all-star cast. It's a White House murder mystery. It takes place in one night at the White House, and I can't say much more than that, other than it has the wonderful Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black, and Andre Brower and Ken Marino and Susan Kelechi Watson from This Is Us, and some great actors. It's an enormous cast, and it's they've recreated the entire inside of the White House on a soundstage at Raleigh Studios in LA. So that's a lot of fun. And I just found out yesterday we're going back to work on January 2nd. So I cannot wait for that.
Okay, fantastic. So it's busy times for Spencer in the upcoming months. And Spencer, you mentioned about the dear place in the west of Ireland, southwest of Ireland, Kinsale in County Cork. Before we got this opportunity, you might enlighten all our audience and listeners, and not too far away. I suppose you're about maybe an hour's drive from where I am at the moment now.
Where are you?
County Clare.
Oh,
In the
you're in
west.
Clare. Okay.
Yeah. So not
Beautiful.
too far. You're probably Kinsale, County Cork. You probably do it in 2 hours, I'd say. 2 hours from my home place. Yeah. So your connections with Kinsale, for the people in Kinsale that might be listening in there today, Spencer?
Well, a very dear friend of mine growing up in Los Angeles, a wonderful, kind of very renowned photographer named Bob Willoughby. For those close to the Google machine, if you want to type in Bob Willoughby, he was a very famous set photographer. He shot very, very classic movies like The Graduate and Catch-22 and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and on and on and on. Rosemary's Baby. And Bob and his family in Los Angeles at a certain time in the early 70s, with the war in Vietnam going on and Nixon and Watergate and all of the troubles going on here in the States, he decided to get out of town. And they found a small castle that was about to be torn down and turned into a hotel in a little town called Kilbrittain, just south of Kinsale, in around Kinsale and Bandon and that area down in Cork. And well, you know Bandon, obviously. And so they bought this castle, renovated it, and he raised his 4 kids there. And so, and Bob met my mother when he was a photographer for Life magazine in the 1950s, and he photographed my mom when she was starring on Broadway in Peter Pan, a classic production of Peter Pan with Mary Martin on Broadway. Bob and my mom became friends, and so that's how I became friends with his family. So cut to 20 odd years later, Bob moves his family to Ireland. They buy this castle. And so every summer for about 20 years, my mom and I would go over and spend time with the Willoughby kids and hang out. And so I've spent a lot of time in every corner of your beautiful country, from Dublin to Killarney to, County Clare to Dingle to the Aran Islands. I've been all over, and I cannot wait to go back. It's been about 10 years since I've been to Ireland, and so I'm very anxious to get back there. My dear friend Lawrence Fishburne is in Ireland right now, filming his second movie in Ireland in the last couple of years, and I'm very jealous. He just texted me a couple of days ago, and he said, "Come on over to Dublin." So I'm thinking I might, if he's still there in a few weeks, I might pop over to Dublin for Christmas. But yeah, I love it there. I love the people. I love the music and the literature and the theater and everything about it. So you're a lucky man, Jim.
The news is out now, Spencer, about Lawrence. You've given away the gig now. There'll be all the people listening in, hunting and chasing around Dublin to try and find out.
He's been there for about a month. I think he's been there for about 3 weeks to a month. And then he shot a film in Belfast about 2 years ago. So I mean, he's a big dude. He's kind of tough to miss. So I don't think he can hide in Dublin too much.
And I suppose, Spencer, lastly, coming back to your lucky day, and I suppose if I had to turn it over to you now for the last 30 seconds, and you to enlighten all our listeners, all our audience viewers, why they should go to the cinema, why they should roll up in their trains, planes, automobiles, whatever mode of transport, get into the cinema, get their popcorn, the Maltesers or Fanta, make their way down to the recliner armchair seats, put the tray back, kick off the shoes, put the feet up, lie back and watch your lucky day and what's in store for them.
My goodness, you said that sounds so appealing. I want to go get a pint of Guinness and a flake bar and sit in a movie theater right now and watch your lucky day. I mean, you just explained it right there. It's a fantastic, compelling story, wonderfully well acted, wonderfully written, directed, and very well told. And it's time to get back after a long 5-month strike from the writers and the actors. It's time to get back in the movies and see stories that thrill us and entertain us and move us. So whether it's a comedy or a drama like Your Lucky Day, there's no better place to see a film than in a movie theater. If you can see it in a movie theater, do. It's up on Blu-ray and video. It's on demand now. I think it's up on Apple and iTunes. You can watch it at home. But if you can find it in a movie theater, by all means, there's no better place to watch a film. That's where movies were meant to be seen.
True. Never a truer word said. On that note, Spencer, Garrett, for me, Jim Conlan, to you, stay safe, take care, God bless, and we look forward to seeing you in more episodes of the Lakers dynasty in the 80s, and looking forward to seeing that White House thriller that's coming about in the near future. Hopefully, please God, we can get you back on to speak to about us sometime in the near future in February and March when it hits our screens here in
Anytime,
Ireland.
my friend.
Anytime. But for the moment, Spencer, stay safe, take care, God bless, and we'll see you in Kinsale maybe sometime in the near future.
God bless you, Jim. Take care, brother.
Take care, Spencer.
Be well.